Today I'd like to talk to you about the Silhouette Cameo 4 cutting machine. You may not have heard of them before, but if you've got a arty, crafty wife, girlfriend, daughter who makes cards, gifts, is into scrapbooking, any of that sort of thing, they probably know about it. You've probably said, yes dear, go ahead and buy it, and you never bothered to find out. But I'm doing the unboxing today, but the main purpose of this series of videos, if there's enough people watching it, is to show its use around the workshop. Apart from the crafty side, the versatile side to make your time in the workshop a lot easier. So this is the midnight black version, comes in white and pink. Now I don't know how much more black it is at midnight as 12:30 or 1 o'clock, but that's what they call it. And I had to wait for this to come in from a distant store because white's very popular. But if you see the toaster at the background, I found a lot of white plastic appliances tend to yellow over age. They're affected by the sun. So I decided to go with a black one. Hopefully the shell will last a lot longer. So let's open it. Type of the arty crafty stuff you can do. There's a good example of making models out of folded paper. That's quite good. It will cut vinyl, so for your sticky vinyl, heat transfer, paper, also things like temporary transfers, and it will cut 3mm thick. This is the later version. This particular model will cut 12 inches by 60 feet. It is their latest version. It comes with a couple of tool holders. So it's like a plotter, and it has a holder and you put a knife blade or a pen in it, that type of thing. So I'll be trying to make up different tools to fit in to make it more versatile. And this particular one comes with 4 holders, adapters. You think great, but there's only one tool in it, one cutting tool. This is for the previous model. This is a Cameo 4, which is their latest version, and it's got thicker cutting capabilities, so that's why I got it. And they bring in new style tool holders. Again, a lot of these companies, they bring out a version, you buy all the accessories for that, then they bring out the next version and they change the accessories, so you have to then go and buy other accessories to go with it. So they just keep milking that cash cow. So these ones actually allow you to use the previous model cutting tools. So that's just an adapter, which is a benefit, which means we can make up our own tools to fit inside those adapters. They seem to have a metallic backing plate on them, and that may be coated so that it will only use genuine Cameo parts, that sort of thing. It's an American machine, and like most companies now, all sort of based cloud, connected internet, and they have libraries, this type of thing. So you have to go and you just can't plug and play. You have to go register at their address, fill in the forms, register the machine, download the software before you can get going. So that's why today's basically a unboxing. Power adapter. It is a Bluetooth version. Comes with an American cable. I don't know what good that is there. USB lead, so you connect the machine up to the 240, your power, plug in your USB, have your PC, and then transfer files across, draw it up in the software, and then send it. So it's just like a printer that cuts. There's a little steel backing. Now whether that's for a magnet, I don't know, I'll have to find out. So that's the adapters for the previous version. That's a tool for tightening, untightening, doing. So this is they call it the auto blade. As the spring foot goes back, more of the blade is applied. You have different blades. The fancy one is the auto one. It will push on the material, come back and set its depth. Then you have a ratchet one, so just got a thread in there. As you turn the thread, it moves the blade out, 0.1 of a millimetre each number. You have a heavy duty tool for cutting thicker materials. So the way it works is that you have your material, goes in a plate, you only want the blade if it's got a, just say sticky material and it's 0.1 mil thick, and the backing plate, the plastic backing is 0.1, that might be 0.2 thick, but you only want the blade to go into 0.1. So that's where you would adjust the ratchet. Now, depending on how soft the material is, it has the depth of cut, but also the force to push it down. So you might have the right depth and you're trying to cut, but the material's a bit tougher, say between paper and vinyl. So you may have to push it down harder, which is the force and the settings, to be able to cut through that material. Even though it's auto and they have the listed materials, which are supplied by Silhouette at higher prices, of course, you can put that in and it might say depth of cut 2, force 3, speed 2. And then you go to cut out and you find out it's not deep enough. So you then manually adjust it and keep a note of that particular cutter and materials. If you haven't got a Cameo 3 and you're not updating, they're totally useless to you. If you're not in America, that's totally useless to you. Now this is the cutting mat, and the way that works, a lot of it seems to be based on the roll. You either have a roll or you have sheets. So this is sticky. It's a sticky cutting mat. So what you do is you peel off the actual protective cover, which you put back after each use. You go into the software, you work out your design, and let's just say we want to cut those letters out in a coloured paper. So you go in the studio software, you do your design, just say it's that, and then you tell it that you're using that size paper, and when you use that size paper, you put it on the position you want to cut. That's the sticky side. So it's got these marks in it that tells it it's got an optical reader in there, so it can read the actual code, the symbols. So you put your paper down, sticky, feed it up. You then have got your layup screen for your design, and you can move it around anywhere on that piece of paper. Then you hit send and it sends the cut information over. It then cuts it backwards and forwards. If you have a roll or a bigger piece of card, and that can be guided in, because the rollers pull it through and back, through and back. So if you have a tiny bit of paper, the rollers might grip it properly and that sort of thing. When it's cut, it may lift up. So that's mainly to hold the smaller pieces in position while you cut. So now we'll come out for the machine. I'll just show you the box again, so you can pause the video and get any info you want from it. Even though this is an unboxing, you still check to see if there's any damage of the item in transit. It actually folds in and out, which is a good idea rather than a flip up. And at the back they also have the earlier days, the Cameo 3 and earlier, when you fed the material in and just say it's a roll, you then had to feed it back out, get a cutter and slice your design off, then feed it back in. This particular model, they have put in a cut off material, so you feed your material out, lower that down and just split it that way. So that makes it a bit easier for you. Got a storage area for a tool, but it's only got a storage area for one tool. Now it's a dual tool holder, a dual carriage. The previous models you could put a pen in one and your cutter in the other, so you could do it like a plotter and then you could cut the shape out. This particular one, for some reason, they put the pen and the cutter on the same tool holder. So you would draw, then you have to stop the machine, come out, change your cutters over, go back and restart. So it's not a good productivity improvement there. And with the Cameo 3 model, the previous model, if you had a roll, you had to buy a roll holder, and that sat out the front and just lift the machine up, sat on it and unrolled it there. Now on this particular model, it should It's not looking too good, is it? I see there's stuck underneath it. Oh. There's one way you can open it up. So that's the roll holder, and I'll just see it. And it's got the roller bearings here, and the two end stops. That there is the feeder strip. So you put your roll in with the sodger you're going to cut facing up, feed it through there and line it up with the guides. Now this particular model, even though it's a Cameo 4, there's 3 models in it. Maximum roll size is 12 inches. Of course, you won't be able to cut right off to either side. The next model up, I think, you can look it up, but I think it goes to 15 inches. For the extra 2 or 3 inches, it's another $170. So for a longer shaft here, a longer belt, and a longer PCB strip, and 2 inches of plastic housing, it's $170. I got this for $410. They're about $450, and the next model up is $580. So these are the 2 holders. Have the slot at the back, the keyway, and then that fits in there like so. And that's why I said the pen will go there, those particular ones will go at the back. Just got to make sure there's no bits of foam anywhere. Plastic, that seems to be it. As you can see, no instructions whatsoever in the box. They got web page, what to pull off and all that. So as soon as you get it, you have to go online and check out how to actually unbox it and all that sort of stuff. That's fine, but they could have just stuck a quick start guide on there. Take out a box, you'll find this list. This is what you should have, packing list, not there. Should then say, right, there's 8 bits of tape you have to remove and all that. They're a bit slack in that department. It won't work unless it's connected to the computer, so this is just the unboxing. As you can see, they're colour coordinated. Those 2 colours match, those 2 colours don't. Well, those 2 colours do. So power is on. Is it? Power in, USB, and the main power switch. There we go. Excellent. There's your Bluetooth connection. Your forward feed in and feed out, I think. That's to lock and unlock, so as you can see the bit loose. They have push and hold to unlock buttons. So when you have your different size material, you line the edge up to the arrows and then you adjust your main roller. These are the 2 main feed rollers and these are just guide rollers. So you just press and hold, drag to the click where the slot is. So if you use an A4 letter, 8mm, 8 inch, 10 inch, that sort of thing, put it there, then that lowers the shaft down and the paper shouldn't move. So feed in, can't move. Put it in the middle, see? There's no drive rollers there. So these are the only 2 drive rollers, and that's to, I suppose the main reason for that is that if you have done a cutout and you've got little thin fingers, then maybe if you had a drive roller, it may grab the little cutout and pull it off the backing. So that's why you cannot do very small strips. I was planning to do small strips, but you cannot do that. So that's where you have to use the cutting mat. That's a width you could feed in. So if your paper, etc. is that wide, you probably won't need to use the cutting mat. If it's any smaller, you use the cutting mat. But what's also good about the cutting mat is that if you cut your material and just say you're doing a shape, you can cut off the areas that you're not using first before you weed it. Weed it just means pulling out the parts that you don't want from inside the O's and the A's and that sort of thing. So you could cut it off. Then with your scraps on your cutting mat, if you're making up different size letters, you can stick that to your cutting mat. In your program, you can work out the position of the cutting mat, where your material is, and then you can cut an A over here and a B down here and a C there. So you don't have to throw out reams and reams of vinyl, that sort of thing. So that's the feed in. Yep. Feed out. So like it's got a light sensor in there. You can have a design already on a piece of material and you scan it in or take a photo, put that image in there. It sees the actual image and you can tell it where to cut out. So if you've got a shape or flowers, it will cut out each of the flowers for you. So that's the unboxing. I won't go in further with it in this video. We'll see what the feedback's like, because I have to go online and mark it around, and you normally find out that this number's wrong and all this sort of stuff. So the next video I will cover that, and then I'll show you how you can use it on the projects around the workshop, because I've got some lined up already. But I may have to buy a different blade, that sort of thing. So I'll check out the capabilities of this and then let you know how I go. Feel free to leave any questions, and if you subscribe, I'll answer them. And as always, thanks for watching.